Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Shilamita with your hostess, Shilamita. I am super excited to bring to you today a very special episode. It is a branding video that my husband and I recorded the day before our wedding. Today is the 12-year anniversary of the day that we met. And I am excited to take you on the journey with me. If you are not on my Facebook, go find me, Shilamita Cooperstein. If you are not on my Instagram, at 50 Shades of Shilamita, go find me. You're going to want to hear the story. It's a great one. We have the best love story of all time. It wasn't always unicorns and rainbows, but it is worth a watch. Enjoy. My name is Shilamita, and this is my fiance, soon-to-be husband, Benjamin Lover Friedman. We are getting married tomorrow. We've been together for 11 and a half years, and tomorrow is 11/11/22. Couldn't have picked a more perfect date to get married. We met in Atlantic City all those years ago. Lovers looking for each other.
We weren't lovers at the moment.
No, we weren't.
Okay, but we were looking for each other.
Was it love at first sight?
It was.
For you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was for me.
It was first touch.
First touch.
First touch.
Yes, I would agree with that. Love at first touch. And then we had a pretty complicated start together. Want to talk about our start together?
No.
Benjamin might have been taken by a marriage that he was in, but he was not very happy, right?
Mm-hmm. We were at the end of a 20-some-odd year relationship.
And I was looking for love. I was not expecting him to show up into my life when he did, but we have to take our chances when they come. And when he first put his hand on my back, I kind of knew something was different about this guy. When we first kissed, that's when I knew something was truly different about this guy.
That was the first night.
The very first night. It was something out of a movie. We were drinking wine. It was probably, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, talking about our lives and our wives and our...
You had a wife too?
No, but talking about our lives and our exes and our wives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I dropped my glass and it shattered in pieces and we both went to go clean it up and then we just kissed. Like magic.
So what happened after that? Like, was it smooth sailing? Was there a period where it got kind of twisted?
So after that, I was heading to Miami. And I was at the nail salon, and there were tornadoes that year, really bad tornadoes. And I texted Ben, and this was 11 years ago. Benjamin was not a texter. He was a phone talker. So I said, hey, I know you have a lot of trucks on the road. I think that maybe you should take a look at the weather. So he calls me, and he says, not only are you hot, but you're the weather girl, too. And then he said, I really want to see you again. Can I come pick you up from the airport on Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever I was coming home? And I said, I don't want to wait that long to see you. Why don't you come meet me in Miami? And he said, that's very tempting. Don't tempt me like that. And I said, well, I think that you should come to Miami. And he said, if you ask me again, I am going to come. So I'm like, I will see you in Miami. So a few hours later, I got a text, and he said, I will see you on Monday in Miami. And so he showed up to Miami. He came to pick me up. We entered into Trump International. Is that where we were?
I think so.
Yeah. And he opened up the door, and the first thing he said was, thank you. And in that moment, I knew that he was the one.
I wasn't saying thank you to you.
No, I
okay.
know. But you said thank you, and to me that was a sign, because I was all about gratitude. I was learning about the law of attraction. My whole life had shifted because I started being grateful. And as soon as he said thank you, that was it. We sat on the balcony together, and he said, we have a lot of things to talk about. I said, I know. He's like, but we're not going to do that right now. I said, okay. And then we went out with friends that night. I was actually a little bit embarrassed because he showed up with a blue shirt with stains on it, and it was probably 3 sizes too big, and I was like, oh my God, not only am I with a married man right now, but he looks like straight out of 1986 with dirty clothes on. What are my friends gonna think? But then we went to dinner and he charmed everybody just like he charmed me, and that was a really fun night.
They weren't looking at the shirt.
No, nobody was looking at the shirt. Nobody ever looks at what you look like, and a lot of times you look like a homeless man living on the street.
I call that a compliment. That's what we get. She's hot and I'm a homeless man living on the street. Yeah, we fell for a homeless
Yep.
man.
So we had our intimate moment that first night that was not very good.
Nope.
So anybody out there that bases their relationship on their first moments together, you got to give it some time.
It's just like everything else, you know. Just like I tell you when we go to a new restaurant, you got to try it more than once if you don't like it.
I tried you more than once.
Many times.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The energy was real.
Mm-hmm.
The love was there from the beginning. So from there we came home, and within 2 weeks he showed up on my doorstep on a Saturday night, and I said, what are you doing here tonight? And he said, I am in love with you. I'm going to tell my wife that I am leaving her. And I said, you can't do that. You've been together 20 years. You have this family. You have to go back. And he said, no, I want to be with you. And we both started crying. And I'm like, this is just not the way it's supposed to be. It's a sin. Here I was trying to be this spiritual leader. Like, that's who I was trying to become. And like, the universe sends me this married man. When I was manifesting my perfect man, I forgot to manifest a single man. So ladies, that's really important in your manifestations.
But you say that. If you manifested a single man, you would never have found me.
Maybe.
Okay, just saying.
Maybe.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
we had to live through what we had to live through because that was a part of the whole scheme of things, I suppose.
I'm aware.
And within a month, his ex-wife knew that I existed, and our lives went from 0 to Lifetime movie status. It was
It went from easy to harder.
easy to harder.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think your life was ever that easy. My life may have been easy because it was definitely not full, but yeah.
I look at life as easy.
So we lived through a 6.5-year divorce together. During that time, we had 2 children together, which now makes it 5 in total. I am the queen of our castle with 5 amazing boys.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch, but all boys.
Mm-hmm. And we live a pretty incredible life together.
Chock full of busyness.
And fun. So I've wanted to get married for my whole life. Obviously, I think most women do. And when we first met, Benjamin told me that he wanted to marry me, but I think after a 6.5-year divorce, he was a little scorned, a little traumatized.
Let's just say I wasn't in a rush.
Yes. I thought that the divorce would be over and he would propose right away and we would get married right away. And he went out and he bought a diamond, but then that diamond sat there for the next 5 years. It was definitely a point of contention in our relationship, because I really wanted to get married, but I knew that he really didn't want to get married, and I didn't want to stand at the altar with somebody who didn't want to get married. And then COVID happened, and I thought that a 6.5-year divorce was hard, but then we lived through COVID together. We were both essential. Benjamin owns a produce company, and within 24 hours, business was down 30%. Within 48 hours, business was down 60%. Within 72 hours, business was down 90%. He came home and said, I can only operate like this for 1 week, and I'm going to have to fire 48 people next week. So I came up with an idea to do home delivery, and I went to go work in the warehouse. So we worked together for probably about 5 months. Those were fun times.
We got through it.
We got through it, and I was actually getting a massage one day by somebody that worked for me, and he said to me, it kind of bothers me that you and Benjamin aren't married yet. And I'm like, great, bothers me too. And after that massage, I texted him and I said, what do you think about us getting married on New Year's Eve? And he was like, can we talk about this when I get home? And so when he came home, I totally forgot about it because the wedding conversation, we've like put it away many times.
Oh yeah, you said many times you just were giving up on
I
getting
was
married.
giving up.
That was her like way to try to hook me back in every time. I was like, it doesn't work like that. I'm the stubborn one.
So he came home and he's like, you really fuck my world. I was like, why? And he's like, what's this about getting married on New Year's Eve? And I'm like, well, this was just such a crazy year. And if there was ever a year for me to prove my love for you, this was it. And so what if we like just ended the year with a marriage? And he was like, I will marry you on New Year's Eve. I was like, you will? And he was like, yeah, I will. So we went and we designed the ring. And then we were going away on vacation and I said, okay, we have to make a list. And he was like, what list? Like, we're not having people at our wedding. And I was like, what kind of a wedding is that? And he wanted this like small, intimate thing, but I'm Shilamita, the goddess of gratitude who doesn't do anything small. Everything is big and I love throwing parties. And so we couldn't agree. So we went on vacation and I said to myself, if we don't make a list before we come back from vacation, I'm done with the wedding. I'm just not going to ask for it ever again.
That was the 7th time in 5 years.
At least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we come back from vacation and I was done. And then I get an email from a producer who we tried to get on a show during COVID, couples that pivoted during COVID. And we didn't make that show, and she reached out to me and she said, I have this great show idea, and I think that you guys would be great for it. Would you be willing to audition for it? And I said, well, what is it for? And she's like, we're looking for couples who love to celebrate, who love to decorate. And I was like, that's me. And she was like, do you have anything coming up? And I said, well, we might be getting married on New Year's Eve. And she was like, okay, well, we would have to film before New Year's Eve. She's like, so that wouldn't work, but would there be any other kind of big thing happening? I'm like, well, we have to get engaged before we get married. So she was like, that's awesome. So he comes home and I was like, okay, the wedding is back on and we're getting married on TV. And Benjamin doesn't really get mad. Sometimes he gets mad, more often now than before, but he got like really upset with me. And he was like, I don't even want to get married. And now you're going to make me get married on TV. So I go to the bathroom. I literally make peace with the fact that I'm just never going to get married. Like, I just have to be okay with this. I cry it out. He walks in the bathroom 5 minutes later and he said, of course I will marry you on TV.
Sucker.
And I was like, great, you have an interview with this lady on Thursday. Don't blow it. So we went through the whole interview process and they chose us for the show, but then they decided to do a social media background check on us. And after that, they didn't want us so much on their show. So there was no show, and the ring was at the jeweler's, and it was New Year's Eve, and he still hadn't proposed. This is months later now, and I had to resize my other rings because I had lost a bunch of weight. So I said to him, I'm going to pick up my other rings. Like, if you're not going to do this proposal, I'm going to pick up my other rings. And so I show up to the jeweler. He shows me the ring, my gorgeous ring, and I was like, it's amazing. I called him. I'm like, the ring is amazing. And so that day, he decided to pull some strings. I'll let you tell your side of the story.
Which story? Oh, about getting engaged?
Yeah, I'll finish my side, and then you can tell them your perspective. So
okay, sure.
We have a New Year's Eve party planned that day, and all these people are at my house. I'm like a bottle of champagne in, having the best time ever, and all of a sudden, Santa Claus shows up at my doorstep, and I have Christmas envy like I can't even tell you. Like, growing up as a Jew in New Jersey, Fair Lawn, New Jersey, like, there was no Jewish thing. So I always had this Christmas envy, and it was like hard for me to go through the holidays because my parents weren't celebrators, they weren't decorators. And so all of a sudden Santa Claus shows up at my doorstep and says,
You know, she's got the white Christmas tree in the corner. She's the Jew with the white Christmas tree. We call it the Hanukkah bush, right? Right?
Right.
There were presents underneath the tree.
Right.
She had stockings up on the mantle.
Yep.
This is the Jew.
Yep.
Yep.
I do it all now because
Yep.
I didn't have it as a kid.
Yep.
And so Santa Claus, the kids like run to the door, Santa's here! And Santa's like, I'm looking for the mommy that lives here. And I'm like, the mommy? That's me. By the way, Santa has a thing for me. This is a Santa Claus that we hire every year.
Everybody's got a thing for you. Everybody's got a thing for you.
So Santa comes in, I got to sit on his lap, and then there was a present in my stocking that my little guy went and got, and then Benjamin got on one knee and he proposed, and then my little guy put the ring on me. It was the most special, beautiful moment of all time. It healed so many childhood wounds for me. He really had no idea. I mean, he must have had an idea. What was going through your mind that day that you decided to do that?
Well, I think I lost my mind. Really, that's what it was. But I had decided we were going to get married.
What made you call Santa?
Oh, every time we do things, we don't do things in any small way. There's always like either a story or an event. Everything we do is big. So we wanted to figure out a way to make you happy that involved everybody, especially the children, because I think the children want us married almost as much as you want us
The
married.
children definitely want us married.
So it came to me that this is the way to do it. And I reached out to our friend who knew Santa Claus, and when I called Santa Claus, he was like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing. She gets to sit on my lap." I said, "Only for 3 minutes, Santa Claus." Then
Santa
she's mine.
definitely has a thing for me, and he's a Jewish Santa too.
So it was easy to put together, and
So we got engaged that New Year's Eve. That was 2020. And then all of 2020, I said, let's make a list. And I still could not get him to make a list. So as New Year's Eve was approaching, I said, let's throw an engagement party. I was going to milk this for as much as I could. So last year, 2021, we threw the most beautiful engagement party. It was a masquerade because we like to make fun of what's happening in the world. And we had the best time ever. It ended up being a super spreader.
it's the truth.
But everybody needed to catch COVID anyway,
Right.
so we
A lot
did
of
everybody
people
a
got sick, but
favor.
nobody got
We
really
did everybody
sick.
a favor, and now we all had big immune systems. And then we were gonna get married on 4th of July because I love fireworks, and I needed to have fireworks at my wedding. And it's a good thing we didn't get married on 4th of July because that was a night that we won't talk about today. And then right before the 4th of July, I said, Benjamin, we have to pick a date because my little guy was like, Mommy, you have to get married in 2022. You have to get married in 2022. So I was like, it's 9/9, 10/10, 11/11, or 12/12. Those were our options. 9/9 was kind of close. It was the end of June. 10/10 and 12/12 were a Monday, and then 11/11 fell on a Friday. And then I was like, oh, why don't we get married at the Jersey Shore? We are beach people. We love the ocean. We love to travel. In our perfect world, we would get married on the beach. But my grandmother is 90 years old, so she wouldn't be able to travel with us. So we came down here and we walked the boardwalk, and that day he called me and he was like, I am really excited to go look at venues. And I was like, you are? And he has these like moments of like excitement. Like first he's got to like let it out that he doesn't want to do anything, and then
I have to come to it myself.
He has to come to it himself. And so we came here, and then we went to a couple other places and we couldn't decide. And then I went dress shopping and I found the dress. And once I found the dress, this was the perfect venue for the dress. So that's how we decided to get married. And then we met in 2011. We've been together 11 and a half years. It is like 11/11/2022 was written in the stars for Benjamin and Shilamita.
Lucky lady.
Lucky you.
I agree.
If you are new to the show, just catching it for the very first time, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed my love story and my soulmate as much as I do. If you are looking for me on the internet, you can find me at www.shilamida.com. It's SHILAMIDA. There are no E's in my name. You can also find me on social media, playing on Facebook, hanging out at Instagram, 50 Shades of Shilamida. If you are listening to the show, you can hop over and go watch the show on my YouTube channel at 50 Shades of Shilamida, or vice versa. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for sharing the show. I love you all. Bye.